One athletic quality is going to have a much greater impact on your game than anything else: your speed. But many footballers don't bother training it because they think that it's all genetic or that they're getting it from their training. They're wrong. You can get fast by training, but you need to train it outside of football. And in this video, I will show you exactly how to do it. Welcome to the 6th episode of my football performance training guide. I'm Archie, a football performance specialist and college soccer player. And in this series, you'll learn everything you need to know about training the physical side of your game. Today, you're going to learn to get fast. And if you want to achieve that, there's one exercise that you must be doing, and that is of course sprinting. But as simple as sprinting sounds, you'd be surprised at how many footballers don't know how to do it. Now, the goal of sprinting is to maximize your time spent at top speed, but there's a number of ways this can go wrong. Most commonly, sprinting too far, or not resting long enough between sprints. The problem with this is it's going to decrease the amount of time you spend at top speed, because believe it or not, sprinting is one of the most demanding exercises you can do. And to reach your true top speed requires 100% intensity, but also requires you to be fresh, which is why I use these guidelines when helping footballers to get faster. The first is distance. As a footballer, you're going to reach your top speed much faster, most likely between 20 to 30 meters. In addition, you're also going to struggle to hold on to this top speed for as long as what a sprinter could, which means that after 40 meters, your speed's going to begin to decrease, even if you're still putting in 100% effort. So if you want to maximize your time spent at top speed, you first need time to reach top speed, but then you want to stop sprinting before you start to see a big decrease. So from a static start with my athletes, I'll typically use sprints of 30 to 40 meters. But another great option can be rolling start sprints. This is where you're going to gradually build into the top speed sprinting to decrease the energy usage used when accelerating. And for this, I'd use around 10 to 20 meters at top speed. The second factor is rest. Because of how intense sprinting is, it takes a long time for your body to recover between sprints. But because sprinting doesn't feel that aerobically challenging, and it's probably not going to make you lose your breath, you feel like you're ready to sprint again much sooner than you actually are, because your central nervous system takes much longer to recover between sets than your respiratory system does. So the typical guideline that I give to footballers is for every 10 meters you sprint, you want to be resting at least 1 minute. Now, while you're doing your sessions, this may feel like a long time, but if you're lucky enough to be able to track your top speed accurately with, say, a GPS vest or lasers, you're going to see that this longer rest duration is going to help you maximize your top speed for every sprint. So with this period of rest, you can maintain your top speed over your sprints. But if you don't give yourself long enough to rest, then you're going to see your speed decrease every sprint you do. But of course, you can't maintain this top speed every sprint forever, which leads me to my third point: volume. Within a speed workout, you need to do enough sprints to be able to get a good volume to help you make progress, but you also don't want to do too much volume to the point where you get tired and fatigued and decrease your training output for the rest of the week. So I typically recommend using between 80 to 240 meters of volume within a sprint session. So this could be as low as 2 sets of 40-meter sprints, or it could be as high as 6 reps of 40-meter sprints. Again, if you're lucky enough to be able to track your top speed, then you can do as many sprints as you can whilst maintaining top speed, and you'll find that your sprint volume is going to fall somewhere in this range. And finally is frequency. As a footballer, you need to be aiming to hit top speed 2 times a week. Now, you may think that you're getting that in training, but realistically, in training, you're often using tighter spaces and you're rarely in a position where you can go and hit top speed. Now, this is different in games, because in games, you've got a much greater space and you're much more likely to hit top speed. So if you're a footballer, If you're playing an 11-a-side game, you can count this towards your sprint reps for the week. But I'll typically recommend that my footballers are sprinting 2 to 3 times a week. So if you're playing 1 game a week, then you should be aiming to get another speed session in away from this game. If you're playing no games, then try and get 2 sessions. But if you're playing twice a week, then maybe you don't have time to get those extra sprint sessions in. So now that you've got the guidelines on what to do for your sprints, you need to know how to structure this within a workout. And like any good session, you need to start with a warm-up. Now, while you have your standard warm-up goals of raising your heart rate and mobilizing your body for your session, this warm-up's going to look pretty different to what you do in the gym or before a football session, because one of the best ways you can make progress with your speed is improving your running mechanics, and the warm-up's a great option to do this. So once you get through your normal exercises of raising your heart rate and moving your body for a full range of motion, you can begin using sprint mechanics to extend your warm-up and prepare your body to sprint. Some of my go-to favorites are skip variations like A skips and B skips, switch variations like single, double and triple switches, and dribbles using high and low variations. Some key points to think about while you're doing these is trying to keep your toes to the sky to maintain dorsiflexion of your ankle. Once you've used these mechanics to extend your warm-up and improve your technique, you can carry some of these points into the main part of your session, your sprints. Now, you already have the guidelines to follow for this section of your session, but some additional points to think about is staying tall and relaxed while you're at top speed. Now that you've sprinted, if that was all you did for your session, you would see some great progress. But if you truly want to maximize the amount of progress that you make with your speed, then you need to supplement your sessions. And by supplementing your sprints, I mean using these 4 things. The first is technique drills that you've already used in your warm-up. The second is accelerations, as these are the most common type of sprints that you're going to do in your games. And these require different body positions to what you're going to use at top speed. So some key points to think about while you're accelerating is trying to get a more horizontal body angle. That means a positive shin angle and a positive angle with your torso. Now, you can help yourself achieve this in a number of ways, one of which is using different acceleration variations that push your body to try and get into these positions. Great examples are push-up accelerations and half kneeling variations. But the other side of this is that you need to be able to accelerate from different positions on the pitch. So also use accelerations using rolling starts or starts from awkward positions. The third is plyometrics. These are going to help you to produce more force faster. And the best plyometrics for improving your top speed are going to be locomotive plyometrics. These include repeated efforts that are going to keep you traveling in one direction. The best variations to use here are broad jumps, hops, bounds, and skips. And finally is your strength training. Now, while you might not be able to do this on the track or on the field after these sessions, it's important to add some type of strength training to your program throughout the rest of the week. This is going to help you to increase the total amount of force that your body can produce, which is going to help you produce more force on every step you take while sprinting. I hope you found this video helpful, and now you know exactly how to train to increase your speed on the pitch. And in my next episode of my football performance training guide, we're going to take a deeper dive into the acceleration phase. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you then.